Now, as I mentioned earlier, interviews crop up in all sorts of areas. Nowadays, I find myself conducting interviews with people, mainly musicians, in order to help them to let listeners know something about themselves and their work. And last Friday, I was over in Hawick at the launch night for Spat's EP, Down and Outs, and there I caught up with Hayley and Ainsley after their wonderful set. I've now discovered why the room upstairs is so empty. Everyone's come out here for some fresh air.
Aye.
So, Hayley and Ainsley from Spat. What a wonderful set that was.
Cool, thank you.
Lunch party tonight. How do you think it went? Ainsley?
Yes, I think it went excellent.
Yeah, well...
I really enjoyed it. It's really good fun.
Really clear. Yeah, you still look as if you're buzzing.
Aye, buzzing just to get drunk on punk rock.
Yeah, but the trombone fitted in really well too.
We're a new member of the band, Cuzzy, and Taz on the bass.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
So what's next? What's your next gig? I see you've got quite a few coming up.
We've got Punktoberfest next Saturday up in Dundee. There's like 22 other bands playing.
Gosh, all in the one venue, is it?
Aye, Beat Generator up in Dundee.
So it's all in one day?
Yeah, aye, 22 bands, 2 stages. That'll be brilliant.
Right. And then you've got one in Paisley in April.
Aye,
you invited me to that, but that's the 5th of April.
Aye, that's the day for your marathon.
Yeah, it's the day. I'll be down. I hope to be down in Brighton that day.
Oh, right,
getting ready to do a marathon on the Sunday. So thanks for letting me know you were playing tonight.
Cool, thank you. Thanks for coming along.
And I think we've still got one more week to go with Track of the Month, Robot.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much.
No, it's a pleasure. I'm always happy to support exciting bands that are prepared to do something for themselves.
It's really good fun. Like we started, it was roughly a year ago. We had our first one, and we done like a Halloween themed gig.
Right.
And we had Steve McCabe came down, and he brought Candy Panic Attack with him. And just had a right laugh and just carried it on every couple of months.
Good,
loads of cool bands.
What a wonderful night that was, and it was great catching up with Hayley and Ainsley there after their set. And this was one of the tracks they played, Little Star, as featured on the Riot Girl compilation number 3, Free Pussy Riot. A live track from Spat there, and earlier in the evening I caught up with Dick Buist of Splinter, who were appearing on the bill as well, and had a good chat with him about the band and also about Razor Edge Records.
Our side of the band's come down from Glasgow. The other side of the band's coming down just now from Glenrothes.
Oh, right. So you've not all travelled together.
No,
so you're hoping the rest of them still get.
Well, they've just left Selkirk, so I'm thinking they're going to be here soon.
Yeah. So you're with the band Splinter.
Splinter, that's correct.
And I must thank you for the CD you sent me.
You're welcome.
But I really liked the Keyboard Cowards one. I really quite liked the message behind Keyboard Cowards.
Yeah. Well, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You know, there is quite a big regime of people these days that are not prepared to come out and tell you what they think. You know, they would rather do it from a computer. You know, from behind a keyboard.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff been in the press recently about some of these women being threatened with rape and all sorts of
exactly.
things.
Yeah. Well, it's a big picture.
It's just there's no need for it. You know.
No.
If you want to say something, just be upfront about
well, that's
it.
what I think. You know, I mean, the song was more written towards people that are bad-mouthing bands more than anything else. But as you say,
it's transferable.
It's transferable. It's a big picture, you know.
I don't know if you heard my comments when I first played it, but when I first heard it, I was thinking the hook was people power.
Right.
And it wasn't until I kind of sat down and paid a bit more attention and looked at the title and said, it's not people power, it's keyboard cowards. But the reverse of the keyboard cowards thing is the internet also gives people a lot of power.
Well, it does.
If they're prepared to get out there and put their message out.
Exactly. I mean, it can work in two ways. It can work for you and against you, It can work for the people that are trying to do a good job, but sadly it can also work for the people that are trying to do a not so good a job,
Of course, yeah. So how long have you been playing with Splinter?
Well, it was myself and funnily enough Rick, who's in the band again now, that started the band back in 2000.
Right.
Although Rick and myself have been playing in bands for all our lives since we were just wee boys.
Right.
And so the band started in 2000 and continued pretty progressively for a few years. But then we called it a day in about 2007, I think it was, and we gave it a rest while we all went off to do other things, and then restarted again in 2009. And from there, it's been a slow but again progressive ladder back up again, and we're back to where we were before.
Good.
And thoroughly enjoying it.
And how long have you been hooked up with Spat?
I fell in with Spat quite a number of years ago because they were looking for a drummer, and when I first started Splinter, or when Rick and myself first started Splinter back in 2000, I was a drummer. I'm the singer now, but I was a drummer then, and Spat were looking for a drummer. So I was looking for another band that could help out. So I made contact, and that's how I met them initially.
Yeah, they seem to be having a bit of a problem being stuck away down here in the borders where there's not much else going on.
Yeah, I guess it's a difficult place, to try to get things to happen. But I mean Haley and Ainsley as well are doing an amazing job. They've came on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, they certainly have. They're full of enthusiasm and dedication, which is great to see.
It's absolutely fantastic to see.
All for supporting people like that and yourselves who are prepared to stick with what you believe in rather than try and come up with what you think the media wants.
Absolutely. And they got on the ladder of the DIY side of things, and they're sticking to their guns, which, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely fantastic.
Good. And you mentioned the DIY bit there, which leads me on to Razor Edge Records, which is promoted as a DIY facility. Can you tell me a bit about that, please?
Well, it was myself that started Razor Edge Records, and again, it was started aiming towards the smaller bands, the DIY type bands that don't have access to expensive recording studios, and they don't have access to artwork, and they don't have access to merchandise in general. And I thought, well, there's not anything around about really that's aimed solely towards DIY that I know of. I'm sure there probably is, but I don't know of any. So I thought, well, why not start something that helps? And also, we needed a label ourselves as a band. Right. To sign on to, and we weren't going to go down the road of trying to sign on to bigger labels, because again that would fly against our beliefs, of what we want to do. So we said, well, we need a label that works for us. So I thought, well, let's start a label of our own, and it kind of progressed from there to me doing it myself. Yeah. And then we do a song with a band called Edge of a Razor. So I thought, well, Razor Edge, turn it around, Razor Edge Records, and that's how it came about.
Yeah, and the DIY side of things means you can retain full control over every aspect of it, and anything you don't like, you don't have to take it on board.
Well, that's exactly right. But I mean, I like to make it clear that the label is directed solely at DIY bands. So I'm not going to look at bands that are already with a label and looking to get onto a bigger label, because I couldn't help them. There's nothing I could do. Yeah. It's entirely the other way around. I want to take bands on that are doing their own stuff, that are DIYing it. But if they want to step up to the next level, then that's absolutely fine. I can hopefully help them to get there. If that's what they want to do.
Yeah. I notice you still got the CDs up there. Do you see much of a future for CDs now?
Well, digital download, it's becoming the thing of the future, really. Yeah. And CDs, I suppose, in not too distant future, they're probably going to become a thing of the past, I suppose. I suppose even now, to a certain extent, when you say to people, do you want to buy a CD, they kind of look at you and say, well, especially the younger generation, and they kind of say, well, I'll just download it.
Yeah, I know I'm getting a lot of stuff for the radio through downloads, but it's still nice to get your hands on something physical.
Absolutely. I mean, I still like vinyl, you know.
Yeah.
I still think you get a better sound from vinyl than you do from CDs.
Well, yeah, there's that argument as well, but I'm more from the graphic side of things. The amount of content that you can get in the graphics on a gatefold sleeve with insert liners and so on, it's just something you can't get with a digital.
No, exactly, and it's like you. I think it's nice to have a physical product that you can sit down and have a look at. It tells you about the band, you know, and everything, and you can see the work that's went into it. You know, a digital download's just a digital download. You know, it shows you how many hours have went in and how much work has went into creating that one song. You know,
I always think back to the very first album I had, and I can still go and take it off the shelf now, and I can take it out and I can look at it, and the sleeves begin to fall to bits, but I can remember that first LP that I bought. I just wonder about young people nowadays, in 20 or 30 years' time, will they sit down at a computer or whatever we've got and look at a file and a list and say, I remember that was the first download I ever bought?
Well, there's a question now, there's a thing, it would be quite fun. I wonder if it will be in 20 or 30 years' time.
Well, this is it. I'm sure we'll not have computers as we recognise them.
No, you're right there. I mean, the way things are progressing, it's incredible. I mean, who would think that looking back now, even at my age, I mean, I'm only in my 40s, and looking back now to when I was just a young guy in my teenage years, when I used to buy vinyl, and you think, God, it's not that long ago, and look what's happened, you know.
I know. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for your time. I look forward to hearing the set later.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed.
Okay. Splinter are Dick Buist on vocals, Rick Rose guitar and backing vocals, Sean Ramsey drums and backing vocals, and Steve Shevlin on bass. And this is one of the tracks that they performed live that night, Technology's Lies.
Do you want to keep having fun? All right, then. This one's called Technology's Lies.
Broadcasting to Alness and the world beyond, this is ABC Radio.
And for a change this week, the track of the month is a live version as performed in Hawick by Spat at the lunch night for their EP.
Here's another one of the EP. It's called Robot. And this one goes out to Donald Strachan. We love you!